Jawhari by Aroma Concepts, a collaboration with Danielle Renee. Before we start, I'd like you to take a moment and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any videos from me, and you can find out more about all the fragrances that I have over here. This fragrance right here has macerated for about 2 to 3 weeks. I wore it for about 3 days to test it out. Let's talk notes, okay? So it has top notes. We have orange, we have passion fruit, we have bergamot, we have cotton candy. Middle notes, we have coffee, we have brown sugar, we have heliotrope, we have honey, we have lily of the valley. And then for our base, we have vanilla, and we have tonka bean. All of that sounds fabulous. Let's give it a sniff. Pressurized atomizer. So immediately off the top, this has a huge punch of sweetness. This reminds me of Cahiers Confection, but with a massive difference. And I think the difference here is Cahiers Confection gives you artificial sweetness. So it gives you a very strong, powerful note of sugar, of, I wouldn't say cherry, but it was a strong sweetness that isn't necessarily very grounded in anything. It's just boom, pow, sweetness. This one, on the other hand, has sweetness, but it's not as sharp. It's more rounded sweetness. It seems to be more grounded. It also feels more down to earth, and I like that. It doesn't feel super fake. It feels, don't get me wrong, it's not like, it doesn't smell like full-on oranges or full-on passion fruit or anything like that. I can immediately tell that there's cotton candy there. I can sense the orange. I can't really pull out the passion fruit from this. And I had passion fruit all my life. I'm Puerto Rican, so passion fruit is one of my favorite juices. So I can't really pull that out from here. But orange and cotton candy and vanilla and tonka bean are definitely present there. There is a floral note in the background that I can definitely pick up. And I think the real winner here, I think what's pulling everything together, is that brown sugar. To me, brown sugar has like this molasses, this like depth of flavor.
I gotta barbecue your assy molasses.
And I'm saying flavor because, again, I bake. That's one of my things. And when you're baking, and this is something, if you bake, you know this. When you're baking and you want to make the flavor more soulful, more deep, more rounded, instead of using white sugar, you use brown sugar. I think that brown sugar is bringing all that sweetness and then grounding it a little bit in something heavy. And then that lily of the valley is definitely there in that flowery sense there. There's a warmness there. I think that's coming from the tonka bean, but I'm not 100% sure. But it's, I sense it there. And this is confusing to me because when I first smelled this, I thought it was spicy, but then I see no spice on the notes anywhere. But I perceive warmth. So to me, I thought there was going to be spice in here, but there wasn't anything.
You lied to me.
I think this is a spicy, fruity, confusing bomb of a fragrance, but in a good way. It basically feels like Danielle Renee did this whole mad scientist thing and said, let me take all these fragrances together and let me take everything I like from all these different fragrances and just dump them in there and create this Frankenstein fragrance that has all the best things.
Oh, it's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
This has a lot of the things I really like in fragrances. It has, the complexity is there. The vanilla is there. The sweetness is there. The warmth is there. There's even that sense of that weird spiciness that is not there, but I feel it. There's that honey that a lot of fragrances have that smells so good. What's the scent profile for this? Essentially, when you start off, you get a warm burst of sweetness. That sweetness, again, is similar to Cahiers Confection, but more grounded, less artificial, smoother. That's the word. It's smoother. It's, dare I say, more mature than Higher Confection.
I'm a fancy boy.
I think what I'm most impressed about this in terms of this scent is that the opening note that you get stays with this scent longer. So what you initially get, that burst of citrusy, warmth, sweetness, actually stays longer than most scents. Usually the top notes just kind of fade away and you're left with this dull sweetness with most scents. This one doesn't seem to want to give that up. Like, it doesn't give up the ghost. Once this dries down, what ends up happening is that it becomes more grounded, it becomes more well-rounded, and then the sweetness, the sharpness of that sweetness becomes even smoother. And what ends up, to me, really highlighting is fruit. I get fruitiness out of this. One thing Daniel René recommends when using this is, he says it's a good layering scent. And I totally agree with that. I think this would make a fantastic layering scent for scents that aren't sweet enough, or scents that you aren't necessarily a huge fan of without that sweetness, without that vanilla. I'll give you a good example. So I really like Assad. Assad is great. This is a good scent. But I tend to lean towards sweeter scents. I tend to lean towards more vanilla scents and things like that. So I think if I combine this with this, I would get a good scent. In fact, I'm going to try that right now. So I'm going to try Assad. And then on top of that, some Jawhari. Let's see what that creates. While this is creating something, I could tell you about the projection and the longevity of Jawhari. So Jawhari has a very good projection. I don't think it's fantastic. It's not a beast in terms of projection. It won't project through the other side of the room. It's not like Higher Confection. Higher Confection is much stronger in projection, much more aggressive in projection. This is like I said, this is a little bit more mature than Higher Confection. This one's more like a respectable 4. And it lasts about 8 hours. I think after 2 or 3 hours, the scent is reduced more or less about to 2 feet. It never really became a skin scent to me. It still stayed a projector, but it never was a super powerful thing. I combined Assad and Daniel René Jawhari. So I created Jawhari Assad. And this smells really good to me. So this basically took the manliness of this and made it sweeter and more candied. And I love this.
I love you. You complete me.
Fragrantica. This scent is not on Fragrantica. So I can't give you what people have been rating this. I tried to add it on Fragrantica. I don't know how to add a scent to Fragrantica. But yeah, this is not on the website. So I can't give you a rating. I couldn't find a lot of stuff on Reddit about this. So this is a newer scent on TikTok. Everybody loves it. Everybody thinks it's great. Who would wear this? Honestly, I think it's a flirt. This leans completely to a flirty bitch. This is someone who winks at you from across the bar.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
You okay?
I'm fine.
This is a wink personified. This is a playful scent. I would rate this honestly a 9 out of 10. I think Daniel René made a fantastic sweet scent that you can layer. So this mixed with other things like what I just did with Assad is golden. So this is great for a layering scent, and that's what I'm going to use it for the most. You get away with making this your like signature scent. The only negative about this is that right now there's not a lot of popularity about this yet. It's great. I'm surprised it hasn't blown up, but the reason I say it's a negative is because you can't get a decant of it. There's no way to try it as a decant. I couldn't find a decant of it anywhere. Should you take my word for it? I'm a sweet person at heart. I love sweet scents, and I really enjoyed this. So if you're like me, yeah, you should definitely try this out. You should definitely buy it. It's not super expensive, but it isn't the cheapest scent in the world. So Thank you guys for watching. What did you think about this scent? Remember to like, comment, subscribe. This was Jawhari by Danielle Renee in collaboration with Aroma Concepts. Remember to always smell your best. See ya.